Most multiplayer games are balanced around fairness. But Dead by Daylight was never meant to be fair. As we all know, Dead by Daylight is labeled as a survivor horror game, which for players that actually play the game might not always be as scary as it might seem. For new players that actually start playing Dead by Daylight maybe in 2026 or just started in 2025, things might be scary at first. But for more veteran players, things tend to change into a more competitive scene than to an actual horror game. Which I do have to admit, if I face the occasional Michael Myers or Ghostface, things tend to get spooky from time to time, but you get numb to those kind of feelings. More about licensed killers in a little bit. And it's quite sad to admit that Dead by Daylight completely falls flat here when it comes to the actual horror element. And I mean, for a game that's labeled a survivor horror game, it's just not scary at all. And to be fair, I would like to see Behavior make a change in all of this, which they did over a year ago with the game mode Lights Out, which might not be all that scary, but it's a step forward in the right direction. When you first boot up Dead by Daylight, you're about to make one of two choices. Am I going to play as a survivor or a killer? And the difference between choosing one of killer or survivor is such a dramatic change in gameplay style. When you're playing as a survivor, you're in a team with 3 random people, if you don't have any friends, like I do. When you decide to solo queue survivor, there are some key things to keep in mind. You're very team dependent. If your teammates don't do any generators, or don't take a chase when it's needed when you're on death hook, there's absolutely nothing you can do to win that game. There is also a thing we call resource management, which basically means that you're praying to the Lord above that your urban evasion Feng Min in the edge map doesn't throw every pallet on the map when they actually decide to get a chase. And then we go to the killer side of things, which I can rant about for ages because that's what I have the most experience about. There are some key things to keep in mind here. Map control is a huge part of playing the killer role. Where you are on the map makes a complete difference in winning a game or losing. One single teeny tiny bit of a mistake can just tip the odds in the survivor's favor. And that comes with the pressure that you have on your shoulders when playing a killer. I mean, you are a single human playing against 4 other people that can strategize or simply outclass you in every way. There is also a huge part that we in the DBD community call killer anxiety, which if you just type it in Google, you'll get a huge Reddit page full of people talking about feeling anxious when playing killer, to the point that they are actually shaking. I mean, it's just crazy. And why is it? It's because of the pressure that lays on your shoulders when playing killer. The thought of getting 4 outed or getting looped for 5 gens is just way more impactful to what happens at the end of the game. And keep in mind, survivors can have 2 hook states each before actually dying, which if a killer makes one mistake, that can lead into a series of events where they just shut down. And then we go into the unwritten rules of Dead by Daylight, which are made by the community itself, which, if in my opinion, it's complete bullshit. We have things like tunneling, where you pick one survivor out of the 4 that you just go for every single time, whether it's right after they get unhooked, and you just get them out of the game quickly to secure your win. And trust me, I have plenty of experience discussing this topic with my friends, say for tunneling, camping, slugging, or just the BM culture in general, which involves teabagging at the gate, flashlight clicking, or gen rushing on the survivor side of things. And I'd like to keep this topic up for discussion in the comments down below, because keep it fair. These are things that the community teach you. Dead by Daylight doesn't teach you these rules, and everybody has their own opinion about them. So please let me know in the comment section down below what you think about tunneling or teabagging at the gate for the survivor side of things. Do you think that gen rushing is okay, or do you think that it's not okay at all? Same goes for slugging. Do you think it's an honest to God good strategy for a killer, Or do you think it's just BM and it's not needed at all? Please, let me know. And now we get into the topic why DBD is still alive and well after almost 10 years of its release. And I think it has a lot to do with the asymmetrical aspect of the game, which keep things fresh. Same for the RNG about the game. You never know what perks survivors are about to use or what killer you're about to face in your matches. And don't forget about the huge license updates that we keep getting from Behavior. The first license, which was the Halloween chapter in October of 2016, which brought Michael Myers and Laurie Strode into Dead by Daylight, which gave them massive success and is probably the reason that they are still alive and well 10 years down the line. But let's not give all the shine to Michael Myers. I mean, look at all the bigger licenses that was brought to DBD in the upcoming years after 2016. We've got the Stranger Things chapter or the Alien chapter, which were massive. People liked them so much that they came back to DBD after leaving. And let's not forget the massive game licenses that DBD has brought into their game, in the likes of Resident Evil or Silent Hill with Pyramid Head. They are just very massive and brought massive success to Behavior themselves. But like any other game, content curators are the reason that games stay alive. It's the constant content that keeps getting pushed out onto platforms like YouTube and Twitch. It's a large part of DBD's ecosystem by getting these content creators to do massive things like challenges or win streaks to keep the game fresh. These are content creators that have played the game for 8+ years. Say for example Aaron and Oddsdarva that I've mentioned in my latest video. These are just massive creators that people tend to keep watching to get informed about the game's latest news or just fun challenges in general. But why do people like this have over 5,000 hours played and still complain? Well, it's because DBD can be such a frustrating game, but at the same time can be so satisfactional. Whilst playing, you can feel the highest of highs or at your lowest of lows, and that is what creates this satisfactional and frustrating boundary between the two. The game is definitely not perfectly balanced. It has not a perfect design, and it's definitely not lacking any bugs. Dead by Daylight makes you feel something every match, and most games can't say that. When the game stops being scary, players make it harder, and that is what we are discussing in this last chapter of this video. It's the challenge culture, which I've talked a little bit about in the last chapter. These challenges are things that I have personally done as well. I mean, look at my latest video where I ran the perkless trapper build, or a couple videos back where I done the 5-stack Penamano challenge. These are challenges that I'm not just doing because I'm a content creator. These are things to make the game more enjoyable. And in Dead by Daylight, challenge culture became part of the identity of the game itself. When a game survives this long, something interesting happens. Players stop asking how to win and start asking how much harder can we make it. Early DBD was simple. Survivors just wanted to escape and killers just wanted a 4K. But over the time something changed. People mastered the mechanics. They learned looping, mind games, map layouts, killer powers, and survivor tech. And eventually, winning normally stopped being impressive. So, players started making their own rules. The moment players master a game, they start rewriting it. But what makes it interesting is that challenge culture doesn't just make the game harder, it makes it more fun to watch. Because audiences love tension, a normal match might be predictable. But when you hear no perks, no add-ons, or if I lose, the challenge ends, suddenly every mistake matters, every hit matters, and every generator matters. Challenges turn ordinary matches into stories, and storytelling is exactly what keeps viewers watching. But why does this matter for the future of the game? Challenge culture actually extends the lifespan of the game. Because even if the meta gets stale, players invent something new, a new rule, a new limitation, or a new way to suffer. When the game stops being scary, players find new ways to make it terrifying again. This constant re-innovation is part of why the game continues to keep evolving. Not just because of the developers, but because of the community itself. Dead by Daylight was never meant to be fair. It was meant to be intense, frustrating, and unpredictable. And maybe that is why we keep coming back.